Hey guys, welcome back to J-Rock Yoga. I'm Jess, and today I'm going to be taking you through a short video for those of you who may suffer with low back pain. There are a couple common causes of this, and we're going to try and target those areas today and hopefully get you some relief. So if you're interested in learning some ways to possibly quell the low back pain, just keep watching. Okay, we're gonna get started standing today. Before we get started, I just wanted to share with you the most common three ways that low back pain kind of starts up, or the most common things that agitate it. There's such a broad span of back pain and things that can cause it, from injury to inflammation to, chronic illness. So I want you guys to take this at your own pace. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And always check with your doctor. If you're currently in pain, make sure that doing movement and yoga is going to be okay. So there are three common things that generally contribute to having the low back pain here in your lumbar spine. One of them is too much flexion. So if we sit at a desk, or if our posture is kind of like this, or if we're typing like this a lot, we're rounding forward and the shoulders are going forward and the low back is kind of taking on that burden. And so you really want to find more extension just in everyday life. So this is really great stuff to just take with you after this practice and take a peek. How are you washing the dishes? How are you on your computer? Are we in flexion? Are we extending? The second thing is core strength. So oftentimes our shoulders are pretty strong, our legs are pretty strong, but our core isn't that strong, so we dump weight into our lumbar spine. And when that happens, it takes on too much of the burden. But if we tighten up the muscles, now we have this full circular core, which is what it's supposed to be, acting as a support system for the rest of our body. So sometimes we just need to activate those core muscles and get them to turn on and do their job. The last reason why you could be feeling low back pain, that's pretty common, is tight hip flexors. We walk, we jog, we run, we're being carried by our legs all the time, or we sit a lot. So if we sit a lot, our hip flexors are in a condensed position. It's the muscle that kind of goes right down here. So any one of those things, we're going to work on all those things in our practice today, and I'm really excited. So let's come to the top of your mat. And we're going to start in Tadasana pose. So depending on how you feel, you could bring your big toes to touch and your heels slightly apart, or you could have your feet hip width. This is completely up to you and what feels better for the back soreness, back pain. And we're going to take our hands here and we're going to place them on the back. And heels of the palms are going to come right underneath the rib cage. So it's almost like you could scoop the rib cage up with the back of the heels of the palms. And on an inhale, I'd like for you to think lift up through the heart and just gently lift up through the back of the heels of the palms, starting to find this lift up and out of the low back. And maybe you just start to look up. Think about squeezing the elbows together. Heart lifts up, up, up. And if this is where you're at, this is where you're at. If it feels good to kind of go back a little bit more, you can go back a little bit more. You get into the hip flexors a little bit by pressing the hips forward. We don't want to dump into the low back by just bending as much as we can. Think more about lifting up through the heart and opening through the front body. Good. And on your exhale, come back to a neutral spine and think about knitting the low ribs in and feel a gentle core contraction. Good. Now we're going to do it again. Inhale. Gently press the heels of the palms up, lift the heart, find this little heart lift position, extension, and exhale, squeeze the low ribs in, hollow out the belly. And we're not rounding forward, we're just hollowing, coming back to a neutral station with the spine. Inhale, lift all the way up, and exhale, come back, squeeze the low ribs in. Good. So now you should be feeling like the core is a little bit firing every time you squeeze and tuck the low ribs in. You get that little bit of core activation. You could do this at any time during your day. We're now going to sweep the arms up over our head. Let's get nice and tall. Press down through the feet, lift up through the arms, and then bend the knees very, very deeply. Start to fold forward. Knees very, very bent. We want to take all that pressure out of the low back and plant your hands on the ground. And then we're going to step your right foot back and place your right knee down onto the ground. You can untuck the toes and then come up to your low lunge variation. Good. You want to think the weight is in the ball mound and the heel of the left foot. And if there's too much weight in the back knee, you press more into the ball mound of the left foot. Good. Reach both arms up to the sky here. And what we're going for is a stretch in the front of the right hip flexor. So I want you to think about magnetizing the back left heel toward the right knee. Like they almost want to touch each other. You're going to feel the front right hip flexor light up. Good. With each inhale, think about that lifting from the bottom of the rib cage. Breath in and breath out. Slowly release your left hand down to the left side. And I want you to think about reaching up a little bit higher with the right hand. Now, if you're not feeling a big stretch in the front of the right hip flexor, think about tucking those bottom ribs in and imagine tucking the tailbone down toward the floor. We're not tucking it forward, but it's just lengthening toward the floor, and that should give you a deeper stretch. One more breath in. And as you exhale, let's bring both hands to frame the left foot. Good. And then step the left knee back so that's in line with the right knee. We're going to hug in the core here and gently lower all the way down to our bellies. Good. So settle in where you feel comfortable. You may need to wiggle around. And we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders for some cobras. We're going to work on back extension. Press down through the tops of the feet, pull the belly button to the spine. And now as you inhale, I want you to think about not even using the hands, they're just there for support, and just lifting up as high as you can, right? We're gonna use that back strength. We'll hold for 3, pull the belly in. We'll hold for 2, and 1. Just release it down, let that go. Let's try it one more time. Inhale, lift up, try not to use the hands, use the back, use the core for 3, for 2, and 1. Good. And now on your next inhale, we'll just come up to a little cobra and come back to the knees. Send your sitting bones back for a nice child's pose. A little stretch for the whole back. And then we'll slowly come all the way back up to all fours. Good. We're going to root into the hands and we're just going to step the right foot forward. So step back last time, now the right foot is coming forward and you can make your way to your nice low lunge variation here. Weight is in the ball mound of the right big toe. And I want you to think about gently hugging the ribs in and lengthening the tailbone down toward the ground. And then imagine drawing the right heel towards the left knee so you get that nice deep stretch in the left hip flexor. When you feel ready, you can reach the arms up over the head. Now think about just breathing naturally, nice slow deep breaths. Feeling the deep stretch in the front of the left thigh. And if it feels all right, you can reach the right arm down and reach the left arm up a little bit higher. Keep pulling right heel to left knee. Nice deep stretch here. Big inhale and exhale. One more breath in. Let's reach both arms back up to the sky. And as you exhale, both hands come down and step back to your all four position. Good. So now we've loosened up a little bit of the front body. We're going to stack your shoulders right above your wrists and your hips right above your knees. And we're going to come in for a couple of rounds of cat and cow pose. As you inhale, let's gently drop the belly down, scoop the heart forward. And here I want you to actually, as the belly is dropped down, pull the belly button to the spine. Good, so feel that core engagement as you're extending. Magnetize the back of your head toward the tailbone. Good, and as you exhale, let's just round a little bit. Not aggressively rounding, but just press so that you feel the core engagement. Good. Inhale, belly drops down. Scoop the heart forward. Pull the belly button to the spine. And as you exhale, just like a neutral spine, and knit the ribs in like we did in the beginning of class. So hollow that belly. Good. Inhale, belly drops down. Pull the belly in. And exhale, knit the ribs together. Good. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Last time, neutral spine, hug the belly in. Good work. Okay, so from this position, we're going to really feel our foundation in the left hand and in both knees and both shins. Pull and knit the ribs in so that there's no big arch in the back anymore. We're really gonna hug that core in and we're gonna feel super supported here. On your next inhale, I'd like you to reach the right arm forward. Now, if you're in pain and this is all that you've got, then you just stay right here. This is fine. If you want a little bit more, we're gonna lift the left leg up. And what you wanna think about is not letting the core drop down. We wanna think about the core really, really activating here. This is called bird dog. And we're just gonna hold it for 1, 2, and 3. Place hand and knee down. Now assess, you have to do what feels good for you. So if you just hold the arm up, that's great. If you hold the arm and leg up, that's great. We're gonna do it 4 more times and then we're gonna go to the other side. So make your adjustments and then come with me. Hug in the core and then reach arm forward, leg back for 3, 2, and 1. Everything rests down. Good. 3 more. Hollow the core. Reach forward, kick back for 3, for 2, and 1. Everything back down. 2 more. Right arm, left leg for 3. Hollow the core, 2, and 1. Everything back down. Last one. Inhale for 3, for 2, and 1. Everything down. And let's just gently take a quick child's pose. Take a moment, let that settle. Just take a moment, see how it feels in the body. And then come all the way back up, all fours. Good, okay. So we are going to, again, stack the shoulders above the wrists. We're gonna stack the hips above the knees. We're gonna do the left arm, and we're gonna reach it nice and forward. Hug and knit those ribs in. And then right leg reaches back, hug and knit the ribs in. Really think of the core engagement for 3, for 2, and 1. Everything goes down. And then we're gonna do it again. The left arm, right leg for 3, for 2, and 1. Everything down. 3 more. Inhale, reach for 3, cinch the waist for 2, and 1. 2 more. Reach it forward, kick it back for 3, for 2, and 1. Good. Last one. Inhale and kick. Low ribs in. 3, 2, and 1. Everything comes back down. Give yourself a little hip wiggle. Let's take a big breath in and open your mouth. Let that go. Good. So the core should feel nice and engaged. What we're going to do now is we're going to move into our half pigeon. So let's open the right knee out to the right side and gently step the right foot forward. Good. We're going to walk the right foot over to the left hand and just gently drop the right knee down. Now, the shin doesn't have to be parallel to the front of the mat. You could actually just draw the right heel in toward the center line for this. What we're looking for is a stretch in the front of the left hip flexor, right? So this is option number 1. Hands are right beneath the wrists, belly pulls in, inner thighs hug together, and we feel this nice stretch here. And now, if you want to take it deeper, we start to gently crawl forward and we can come all the way down to the forearms. Notice that we're not rolling all the way onto our right hip. We're kind of staying right in the center. And of course, you can walk all the way down if that feels good for you. It just depends on your flexibility, on how you're feeling. And now I'd like for you to think about where you're directing your breath. So as you inhale, I'd like you to think about the breath coming right to the sacrum, and almost like you're ballooning air into your sacrum. And as you exhale, just soften and let go. With each inhale, the sacrum balloons. And with each exhale, we let it go a little bit more. Just starting to feel a nice stretch in the right glute, in the front of the left hip flexor. Steady, comfortable breaths. And really test it out. See what feels good for you here. Let's take about one more strong breath. And then we'll slowly crawl the hands back up. And we'll send both of our knees back to all fours. Good work. On your next inhale, let's lift the left knee out to the left side and slowly step the left foot forward. And just gently walk the left foot over to your right hand. We're going to come in for half pigeon on the other side. You could bring the heel more towards the center line and drop the shin down. If it feels good for the shin to be parallel, you can do that, but I'm trying to be a little bit modest just in case we are feeling a little bit cranky in the back. We don't want to overextend anything. One side might be tighter than the other, one side might be a little bit more buoyant, so, kind of feel into it. Pull the belly in. Option 1 is to stay right up here. And option 2 is just start to crawl the hands down. Maybe you come to the forearms, maybe you come all the way down. And again, being wary that we're not rolling onto our left hip, we're staying nice in the center. And once you've found your spot on this side, we're going to start to breathe into the sacrum. So imagine the breath really ballooning into the low back. And then exhale as we get soft, we release. With each inhale, feel that expanding in the low back. And with each exhale, just soften and allow it to feel however it feels, finding a space where hopefully it feels good. If there's ever pain, always back off, take care of yourself. And then we'll slowly start to walk our hands back up. We're just going to roll to the left hip and send our legs out in front of us. Good. We are going to make our way down onto our backs. So depending on how cranky the back is, support yourself, hold the hands. Let's really be mindful of engaging the core, cinching the low ribs, and then you can start to walk down. You could come down to the forearms, and then we'll slowly make our way all the way down to our backs. Good. And now, once we're all the way down onto our backs, I'd like for you to have the knees bent and feet are going to be about hip width apart. We're going to make our way into a couple bridges. So palms are going to face down, and almost think about you're broadening the shoulder, the collarbones, the shoulders are coming down on the back. And then the knees aren't splaying out, they're like gently magnetizing toward one another, almost like there's a line in the center body. Good. And then see if you can notice this big arch in my back. Let's see if you can hollow out the belly and lessen that arch. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, root into your heels and just gently press through the heels, lifting the hips. You'll feel a stretch in the front of the hip flexors. The glutes will be engaged. The core will be engaged. Good. Let's hold for 3. Let's hold for 2. And 1, all the way back down. Try to minimize that arch in your back. Good. Inhale, back up. Press through the heels. Don't let the knees splay out. Good. Let's hold for 3. Let's hold for 2. And 1, come all the way down. Minimize the arch. Inhale. Exhale, lift for 3. For 2, keep knitting your low ribs. And 1, 2 more. Knit the low ribs hollow. Inhale, come on back up for 3. For 2. And 1, knit the low ribs, hollow the core. Last one, inhale, lift it up. And we're gonna hold for 3. For 2. And 1, come all the way down. Take a moment here. You can take a little wiggle. Do what feels good. Do what your spine needs. And then we're going to work our way into some diaphragmatic breathing. So take the fingertips and place them on the outer ribs, just so that you can feel what's going on in the outer ribs and in the outer belly. And the point of the breath that I'm going to teach you is to expand the abdominal wall, and then we engage it. So we're engaging the deep abdominal muscles that might get ignored, because sometimes we just breathe into our chest. We don't really pay attention to what's going on. We don't send our breath into our belly, so these muscles get a little bit weak. So breath work is a really great way to strengthen those deep, small core muscles that often get overlooked and can contribute to our back pain. So I'd like for you to think about, again, hollowing out the belly like I could scoop tacos or ice cream or whatever you had for breakfast, dinner, out of your belly, and there's not gonna be place for me to put my hand, right? So I can't slide my hand underneath the low back. And then I want you to think when we inhale, the chest doesn't rise, we're gonna breathe right where our fingertips are touching, so that bottom of the rib cage. So as you inhale, fill up into your fingertips. And as you exhale, knit the ribs. Hold this contraction for 3, for 2, and 1. Now we're gonna inhale, expand. Exhale, knit the ribs. For 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale, expand. Exhale, knit the ribs. Hold the contraction, 3, 2, 1. 2 more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, knit. Hold 3, hold 2. Inhale, last one, expand. Exhale, knit them in. Hollow the belly, squeeze for 3, squeeze for 2, and 1. Totally release. Good work. And so that breath might come right away. You might be like, wow, I feel that. Or it might take a little bit of practice. If you've never worked into that breath, you can rewind the video and kind of play it back a couple times, watch where my hands are, watch how the breath moves. But you'll get it, and it really does help. Okay, so we're gonna move into our final pose. We're gonna come into a supine twist. So let's take your right knee into your chest and just bend the knee. Take your hands and interlace the fingers right above the shin. Now again, let's find that knitting of the ribs, and we're gonna just extend the left leg long. Good. So as we extend the left leg long, you should maybe start to feel a stretch in the front of your left thigh. If this is enough for you, you stay right here. And it's very, very important that you keep the core engaged, right? Because we don't want the low back popping up. If you want a little bit more, you could draw the right knee out to the right and gently pull it down towards the armpit. And then imagine pressing your left heel forward. That's gonna really light up the stretch to the front of the left quad. Feel that hip flexor lengthening. And let's take a few breaths here. Nice calming breaths. Lengthening. Good. On your next inhale, just hold here, and on your exhale, let's start to roll the weight onto the outer left hip and carry the right thigh over you for a twist. The right arm is going to go out to the right. So feeling a stretch through the right glute. If the shoulders can both be on the ground, that's great. We're working towards that direction. Let's breathe into the right side of your rib cage. And if you need to support the right knee with a block, that's completely fine. And then we'll slowly inhale, come on back to center, knit those ribs in, let that be something that we're gonna work on consciously every day, and then pull the left knee back into your chest. You could give yourself a little squeeze, maybe bring the forehead to the knees, little hug, and then let's interlace the fingers, place them just above the left shin and extend your right leg nice and long. Good, we're just gonna do the other side here. So you can flex the right foot and press through the heel, and then just gently draw your left knee down into you, closing the gap between your chest and your thigh. And if this is enough for you, this is completely fine. You stay right here. If you want a little bit more, gently draw the knee out to the left and pull it up towards your left armpit. And then really imagine shooting energy out your right heel so you get that nice deep stretch in the hip flexor. Knitting the ribs. And just finding that slow, deep breath. Trying to allow your body to relax into the stretch. Let's take another inhale here. And as you exhale, we're going to roll over to the right hip And just gently, gently, got my mic over here, take your supine twist, left arm out to the left. Breathe into the left rib cage, shoulders heavy on the mat. And just slow, deep breaths. Then we're going to come on back to center. Let's bring both knees in. Lift the head if it feels okay. Give yourself a squeeze. And then place the feet back down on the ground. We're going to finish with a short Shavasana. So if you have back pain and it's too much to extend the legs out in front of you, like so, then you can just keep the knees nice and bent here. You can let the knees drop in toward one another so that they could support each other. And then let the palms flip up outside the body, take up space. Let's take a big breath in through the nose. Let's expand. And then open your mouth. Let's release any expectations of what we think our body should be doing or must be doing. Let's fully try to embrace where we are in our healing process. And by embracing where we are, we can work from where we're at, and we can improve. But let's try and let go of the resistance of we should be, or we have to be, or we must be. Let's just be. Let's invite healing and invite feeling really, really good into your body. Shavasana. Thank you guys so much for practicing with me. I hope this video gave you a couple tools that you could use when your low back is feeling less than happy. If you really like this video, I put out new videos every single week here on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking the link below. You can get notified so that you are up to date. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm at JRockYoga on Instagram and on TikTok. And if you'd like longer flows, recipes, blog posts, the whole thing, I have so much good information on my website at jrockyoga.com. Thanks so much for practicing, and we'll see you next week.